Hello, Internet. It's your boy Tonkus with the VTuber avatar and the usual lisp. And yeah, let's just throw the disclaimer. All views and opinions presented in this material belong to their respective authors. I just came back from a vacation and I think my lisp has only gotten a little bit worse. But anyway, don't forget to subscribe if you like this sort of content. And let's just get straight into. Oh, wait, I forgot to. Oh boy. Let me fix the source settings. There we go. There we go. Okay. Alright, so today we're reading a story called Inkwells Across Equestria by Keyslam. So, yeah, it's a little bit on the longer side as far as stuff that I've read so far. And let's just get to it. Chapter 1, Raven of Cantaloupe. Raven stares at her namesake item on her desk. Raven. The mayor looks up. Celestia steps into the room, her face obscured by a loose parchment. I assume the preparations for Twilight's inheritance of the throne have been operating smoothly? Yes, Your Highness. You don't have to call me that, you know. I consider you a friend, not a subordinate. Raven lowers her head. Yes, Your Highness. You're never going to call me Celestia, are you? No, Your Highness. My work supersedes personal relations as instructed. It is the only way to avoid being compromised by potential threats. Celestia stands silent for a brief moment before continuing. Anyway, on to the serious talk. Have you identified any threats that must be addressed? I believe so. My sisters have been informed that there exists a small coalition that appears to be outwardly hostile towards the nation's leadership direction. A report I have received states that they have been sending potentially lethal substances via mail to the residents of Twilight Sparkle. We believe it may have been... Oh, been. That's a typo right there. We believe it may been active... It's probably be an act. Being active. Oh boy, I can't stop thinking about it now. We believe it may have been an act of attempted assassination, though I stand by the honor of my bloodline that the Princess of Friendship remains safe from any threats. I believe they are currently coordinating an ambush to dissolve this faction. Your sisters. How many do you have again? The number of ponies I consider to be siblings is not of importance, Your Highness. One of these days, Raven, I'm going to dig through last year's census and see just how many ponies are related to you. That will not be of any use, Princess. Oh? Celestia raises a brow. And why is that? Raven takes her glasses off, setting them on her desk. It is of no importance to you. So long as your reign continues, my bloodline shall be at your side. Raven? Yes, Your Highness? I'm serious. I have seen many generations of Raven Inkwell serve before me, and yet I still do not know your origin. Your position is of no royal decree. Yet, even during my younger years as a filly, some version of you has been there for me. Why is that? Your answer comes in due time, Your Highness. And that's the first chapter. And just real quick, all these chapters seem to be generally on the shorter side, but overall there is definitely an underlying plot to it. Like, you know, the whole assassination attempt stuff. Yeah. Anyway. Chapter 2. Oh, there's someone else reading it right now. That's interesting. Raven of Ponyville. And you're saying you're sure I shouldn't check my mail today? Twilight Sparkle glances over her morning tea. How did you get in, anyway? Spike's still sleeping upstairs. I have my ways, Your Highness. I am here on orders from Cantaloupe to ensure your safety in the upcoming months. You didn't answer my question. Raven, that's your name, right? I've seen you with Celestia before. I am deeply sorry, Your Highness. Raven Inkwell bows her head. I shall answer it now. Whilst carrying out my order to inspect your mail for potentially hazardous substances, my sister informed me of a plan to send deadly substances in the mail in an attempt on your life. We have already intercepted multiple suspicious letters and packages before I arrived. Assassination? Twilight frowns, clearly puzzled. Why would any creature want me dead? You see yourself as a good pony, Your Highness, but every leader will have their foes, whether they know it or not. The faction that wishes for your passing could very well be the former followers of King Sombra, or perhaps the vestigial, unreformed changelings of the Badlands. Further investigation is being carried out, as the former appears to be the most likely case. As I am largely uninvolved in such investigations myself, I cannot say for certain what may actually be occurring. Okay, then. Is there anything else that you're here to do? I indeed have additional orders, Your Highness. I am to be stationed by your side until the princesses of Equestria deem that my duties are complete. Twilight pauses. When would that be? I'm a princess of Equestria too, aren't I? It is not the individual who decides my duties, but rather the council. Council? Confusion grows within Twilight's voice with each passing second. This is the first time I've ever heard of an entire council of princesses. You have yet to be formally invited, Your Highness. I apologize for assuming you were already aware of the council. No, there's no need to apologize. I'm just surprised that I haven't heard of it sooner. Twilight shakes her head. So, you're going to stay here for a while then, aren't you? Wait. So, you're going to stay here for a while then, aren't you? Until my duties are complete, Your Highness. Okay, and that's that chapter. Here's the third one, Raven of Crystal. Ooh, this one looks different already. Raven Inkwell, status report. Over. Copy. The targets are approaching the building. I will continue to watch from afar, Your Highness. Raven Inkwell peeks around the corner of a building before... Bringing? Huh. That's interesting. Before bringing. Over. I don't quite know what's going on here. I think it must be another typo of some kind, but don't really know what. So, anyway, let's continue. I'm sure that the author's gonna... Keyslam is going to fix these eventually. Especially once this reading comes out, because, reading out loud really highlights the typos and, mistypes and whatever. Two unassuming ponies, a mare and a stallion, continue to walk down the alley. One appears to nod at the other, splitting away to disappear through a door. Raven lights her horn for a moment, vanishing almost immediately after the initial flash. The pony that remained outside the building is of lesser importance than the one that had entered. State your location. Shining Armor will be sending backup forces. 23rd warehouse perpendicular to the entrance path, 48 degrees north of east at a radius of approximately 8 miles. 10-6. And not sure what that is, but I think they're like walkie-talkie codes or something. I don't know. Roger that. Report to me your findings once you are safe. Out. Raven lights her horn again, this time using a teleportation spell. She tucks away her walkie-talkie, now standing on a ceiling beam within the warehouse. It is clear that there is a chemical operation of some kind being carried out on the ground floor, though it is hard to tell for sure what is being manufactured from the height she stands at. The mare who entered the building before carefully trots up to the machinery. She begins to press buttons on the control dashboard, though, once again, it is unclear what exactly is being done. Raven vanishes once more with the teleportation spell. Now far closer than before, Raven slowly steps towards the dashboard, keeping a keen eye on what is being operated with each button press. The mare at the controls frowns, turning her head in the direction of Raven. She emits a noise sounding like a cross between a huff and a grunt before turning back and refocusing her attention on the controls. There is some noise outside. Both Raven and the mare simultaneously freeze, the former of concern and the latter of fear. Quietly, Raven teleports away one more time, cupping a hoof to the microphone of her walkie-talkie. There appears to be an encounter between the guards and the second target of the warehouse. I suspect this is the backup that the Crystal Princess sent. Over. Affirmative. I have received a report stating that the second target has been taken into custody with little resistance. What is the status on the first target? Over. She appears to be operating unidentified heavy machinery. I attempted to make some sense of its operation, but appears... Wait. Oh, there's no sum. I attempted to make sense of its operation, but it appears that she may be aware of my presence. Over. Remain in your current location. I will direct the guards' ponies to raid the building. As the target is an earth pony, they will be unable to escape easily. Over and out. Moments later, the doors of the warehouse were bucked down, allowing for a squadron of guards to flood into the building. The mare let out an annoyed sigh and held her hooves up. Take me. I've had enough of this crap my cult friend puts me through. It appears that the primary target may have been a decoy. Over. I copy. I have been observing by means of a microphone tucked within the armor of a guard. I believe that we have made a good choice in first apprehending our secondary target, as he is most likely the cult friend that the mayor speaks of. Out. Raven sets down her walkie-talkie. It has been some time since she herself did not need to take part in an ambush such as this. Perhaps this is what retirement will be like. I guess this chapter must be about whatever, cult thing or whatever that tried to assassinate Twilight, maybe. I don't know. Raven of the Shadows. And I know that the next chapter is Raven of the Night, so these must be counterpart chapters or something. Hasten. Our time is approaching its end. Raven leads Raven down the corridor. Raven leads Raven down the corridor of ravens. Okay. Every so often, the trailing Raven flinches at the soft wails of despair emanating from beyond the bars. She refocuses her attention on the Raven Inkwell that leads her, and the soft glow at the tip of her horn. Well, one thing's for sure, this description definitely fits well, considering how there are clearly now more than one. Do you have a preferred title, Elevated One? Actually, now that I think of it, yeah, I guess I'll just use the same voice for all of them. The leading Inkwell gives a singular nod and gestures to follow. It is not long before they halt before a heavy door inscribed with runes. No other incarnation of the first has unsealed the chamber we stand before. That is why we will utilize the power of the many. None have entered the first chamber before, because none have eclipsed the might of the first. The trailing Inkwell throws her cloak off, unfurling her wings. Until now. The leading Inkwell's eyes widen. You are an alicorn. I am a mistake. But this mistake shall be the savior of our cherished bloodline. We live to serve, and when our purpose is no more, we too must perish. I make it my duty, our duty, to ensure that our purpose to the Sun Princess is preserved. Please, stand aside. The leading Inkwell steps to the side, her eyes fixated on the alicorn. A spiral of mana drifts from the tip of the alicorn Inkwell's horn, wandering lazily through the dry air until it hits the surface of the door. The runes painted beneath the alicorn Inkwell begin to glow in a similar fashion, wisps of mana beginning to reach far beyond the leading Inkwell, snaking through each and every caged chamber within the corridor. I'm sorry, my sisters. Your sacrifice will be honored for generations to come. The leading Inkwell nearly chokes at the statement. Wait, you never said anything about sacrifice. I assumed that it required the magical prowess of the combined ravens to unseal the chamber. A flood of mana bursts forth from behind, washing over every surface in the corridor as the tsunami approaches the door. A pair of glasses are all that remain of the leading Inkwell as the wave impacts. Click. The door creaks open. Raven steps inside. There is nothing. Absolutely nothing. A second pair of glasses lays on the floor where Raven once stood. Oh, that's a character death right there. And yeah, sorry if I am commentating or just stumbling more than usual on this, because yeah, this isn't exactly like a lot of the other stories that I've read before, especially not ones that I've read out loud, since, I've only read 3 other stories before this. And yeah, the writing style is just very different from what I'm used to or, seen or anything. Okay, here's the next chapter. Raven of the Night. Of the Light, not night. Night is kind of the opposite of that. I trust that the alicorn has been disposed of. Raven gives a singular nod to Raven. I do not believe any Inkwells were harmed in the unsealing of the false vault, save for the rogue alicorn. The Inkwell behind the desk raises a brow. What of the Inkwells reported to have been abducted and imprisoned? Automatons, fabricated with no sentience and orders to serve as a lure for the Raven of Shadow. I have deliberately kept this fact concealed in order to avoid raising suspicion. And what of the Inkwell that assisted the Raven of Shadow in the construction of the prisons and unsealing of the vault? You are speaking to her. I am the one ordered to sabotage the rogue Raven. The Inkwell behind the desk pauses, staring into the eyes of the Raven that stands before her. Her reflection stares back. Well done, Miss Inkwell. I will send a report of this to the Sun Princess. Okay, sorry about that. My dad just walked past my room and my dog immediately started growling, and yeah, I knew that he was gonna bark, so I had to pause the recording and everything. And now my avatar is completely desynced again. So let's fix this. Okay, there we go. Where were we? Okay. Well done, Miss Inkwell. I will send a report of this to the Sun Princess. The continued support of us and our fellow sisters ensures that the nation remains at peace. We salute you for your part in the banishment of the rogue Raven to the emptiness. And what of the Celestial Sisters' abdications? What is to come of us? The Inkwell behind the desk sighs, setting her glasses on her desk. She slides them towards the edge. Each and every one of us holds the memories of the previous generation, as well as the ones before, all the way back to the first. We are our own ancestors, though we remain physically young. Our memories stretch on for millennia. Do you not believe we have lived long enough? The first lived a long and fulfilling life. We must hold on to that life, cherish it, perhaps. In the end, we are but drones, serving a bloodline sealed promises. We have already lived a life worth living, and this is our repayment for that blessing. When our duties are ultimately complete, we will all enter our final retirement. Each of us will receive our own chance to live long and happy, as an identity separate from who we were created to be. I understand. Dismissed. Thank you for your time and effort. Ooh, plot thickens. And this person definitely liked the... Yeah, I clearly read that comment before. And real quick, the reason why it says that these are chapters that have not been read are just because I clicked this to select and deselect, and now I should reselect these because I just used them to keep track of what I haven't read. The most recent chapter is the one that I haven't read yet, because I am actually reading the story as it updates and, whatever. Raven the First. Raven the First. The soft morning glow of sunrise filters in through the chamber of Star Swirl the Bearded. The stallion himself remains steadfastly asleep, that is, until a quiet thud outside the door disturbs his slumber. By Faust, what is that so early in this morning? Star Swirl yawns, rubbing an eye. His attention drifts to the snow-covered landscape outside the window. My, there must have been a blizzard last night. He sits up, brushing loose straw from his face. Well, I suppose there's no harm done in answering the door at such an early hour. I certainly do hope this commotion hasn't disturbed the children. Star Swirl walks to the door, his head held in a curious tilt. Slowly, he opens it and peers outside. All around, there is nothing but a blanket of white. White. Once again, that's probably a typo. However, a curious set of tiny hoof steps appears to have trudged through the snow, all the way to this very doorstep. By Faust, the stallion repeats, his eyes landing on the collapsed form of a shivering filly. Where are your parents? Do you not have a caretaker? He sticks his head further out the door. There is no pony else to be seen. He returns his attention to the filly. Very well then, I shall be your caretaker for now. No foal should be shivering on this frigid day. And then that's just a horizontal line. That's just a scene skip from the looks of it. So you claim to have been orphaned as of the previous week. The filly nods. The young Celestia and Luna watch on in curiosity, though neither are at the age to speak of Wait, is this dialogue or narration? This reads as narration. I think that's probably just another typo. There are a lot of typos in this. The filly nods. The young Celestia and Luna watch on in curiosity, though neither are at the age to speak as of yet. These are Celestia and Luna. They are the only two alicorns known to exist, and as such have been deemed royalty. You will be their elder sister and playmate. Elder sis? The filly breaks out in a coughing fit before she can finish her sentence. Her stomach grumbles in response to the disturbance. Star Swirl, you must one day learn your limits, Star Swirl lectures himself. The two fillies you've adopted have already eaten you out of what little food you have, and now you take on a third? He glances at the filly again. I do not eat very much, sir, the filly responds, leaning forward a little. I have gotten by on roots and snowmelt for days. Unacceptable! Star Swirl booms, surprising all three foals in the room. Little filly, do you have a name? The filly shakes her head. I have been called many things, but I do not have a singular given name, sir. I am as free as the ravens that soar overhead, and yet I lack a true identity. Raven, Star Swirl stroke. Wait, tense shift? Huh. Not quite that well written, but I guess it's the content that matters more. Raven, Star Swirl stroked his beard. Raven is a good name for a pony such as you. Ravens are intelligent creatures. Do you know how to read and write? Raven nods. Then you shall henceforth be known as Raven Inkwell, Star Swirl declares. Raven Inkwell, third daughter of the mage Star Swirl, elder sister and protector of the Alicorn princesses Celestia and Luna. Protector? Elder siblings are often tasked with the protection of the younger. I myself once was nurtured by an elder sibling, but he has long since passed on. Raven looks past Star Swirl to the two alicorns behind him. Celestia babbles some nonsense to Luna. You can't possibly task me with the oversight of nigh immortal beings, sir. We are but mortals in the presence of demigoddesses. Demigoddesses who, as of now, are too young to speak, Celestia corrects. That does not resolve the issue of our own mortality in comparison to theirs. Such complex speech at such a young age, the stallion remarks. I may not be able to use on myself, but I do know of a spell that can somewhat resolve the predicament of mortality. You can make ponies immortal? Not immortal per se, but more bonding to one that outlives the other. You will continue to grow, age, and eventually die, but your soul will live on, materializing in new bodies as seen fit by the machinations of the bond itself. You say bodies as in there may be plural. Unfortunately, that is indeed the case. There is no way for the bonding spell to ensure that only a single vessel is fabricated upon your death. There may be none, leaving you to wander as an abandoned soul. Or there may be hundreds, each with a copy of your soul, of your original soul, to inhabit their bodies. Raven furrows her brows. But why me? It has hardly been a day, yet you offer me a chance to enjoy not only a life forever associated with two demigoddesses, but a life that will last as long as they themselves may live. You say that the only price I will pay for this eternal gift is to defend these sisters as if they were my own bloodline. I do not understand your methods, sir. Well, I don't understand my methods either. I do not expect to ever fully understand them. Perhaps it is fate that you appeared on my doorstep, famished and weak. Perhaps it is pity, I do not know. And yes, that is my lone request. Please, if you allow me to bestow upon you the powers of the bonding spell, defend little Celestia and Luna as if they are your own sisters. I will refer to them by title. I do not yet feel comfortable fully associating myself with such power. Such disassociation may also serve to better insulate myself in case if I or any of my descendants are compromised. Raven pauses as her stomach grumbles again. I also desire proper sustenance now that I no longer live in the wilds. Star Swirl gives a nod. Thank you, Raven Inkwell. Until you are ready for the spell, I will raise you alongside the sisters as my own. Raven raises a hoof. One more request of you, please. Yes? I am unable to see very far. Is there any remedy for my ailing eyesight that you are aware of? And that's, I guess, how she got her glasses. And then here's another chapter. I think, if I remember correctly, this is the last chapter of this first... Yeah, it's the last chapter of this first group. Which means that's also the last chapter of the original set, back when this was supposedly a one-shot. But clearly it's not anymore, so, whatever. Raven the Last. Distant waves crash against faraway rocks. Raven Inkwell carefully sips her drink. Celestia. Luna. The former princess nearly chokes on her own drink. You said my name. Luna only peeks from beneath her raised sunglasses for her own response. I am tripping on these words so much more today than I have been in previous recordings, I feel like. Thank you for this life. For these lives. I don't understand. Why are you thanking us? Star Swirl served as your mentor and father figure, yes? Celestia pauses for a moment to search her memories. Yes, that is correct. He is the one I owe my continued existence to. This extended life I live is one part of a bargain I made as a filly. A bargain? Luna snorts. You've never come across as the bargaining type. It remains the sole bargain I have made across my many incarnations. Nigh eternal life, in exchange for the assistance I have offered for eons. Every life I have lived beyond the first is to serve. But why bring it up now? Celestia cocks her head. If your purpose and reason to live is to serve us, then why do you only reveal it now? Ooh, that's a long paragraph. The bonding spell that my very being has become infused with draws the energy to continue the cycle of reincarnation from the alicorns I am bound to. Though it was intended that I live as long as the celestial sisters, the gradual diminishing of your collective powers as time passes will see to my eventual end. I hesitate to even imagine the sort of energy that was sapped from the spell to aid in the formation of my alicorn incarnation that went rogue those few months ago. A sealing vault, designed to terminate the bonding spell by severing the innate flow of mana, was constructed alongside a false rumor of this vault, holding great powers within, to lure this incarnation to their end. Continued existence of the Alicorn Raven, dubbed the Raven of Shadows by my former sisters, would have likely led to an even hastier deterioration of your powers, and by extension, my very being. Due to their need to continuously draw additional mana as an alicorn, the vault's effect was likely a swift and painless demise, as opposed to simply breaking from the chains of reincarnation. Celestia leans back on her seat, clearly puzzled by the amount of information presented to her. Speaking of which, what happened to those many sisters of yours, Raven? Their cyclical chain of reincarnation has been severed. Their memories will no longer be retained by me, and they will each live out the remainder of their lives as individuals, each distinct from the identity of Raven Inkwell. As such, I am now the sole remaining Inkwell to walk the land. Raven Inkwell has lived a great many long and fulfilling lives. True immortality was beyond that filly's comprehension, and even now, deep down, she cannot fully fathom the many lifetimes that have come and gone. An alicorn is innately able to comprehend such timescales, as it is simply a part of their natural lifespan. But Raven Inkwell was no alicorn. It takes a great many additional spells and enchantments to retain the young filly's sanity, and as these spells begin to break one by one, so too will the very being of the mare who has lived 1,000 lives. Raven's hooves begin to shake as she lifts her glass again to her lips. She changes her mind and sets it back down. This filly feels it coming. That starving foal, found half frozen on a mage's doorstep, is ready to meet her long-awaited demise with open embrace. Farewell, younger sisters Celestia and Luna. Farewell! The mare's hooves cease their shaking, and she shuts her eyes for one final time. And yet, they open again. Curious eyes peer at Celestia, then Luna. They fixate on the glass beside her. She reaches with a hoof to rub her eyes, only to be surprised by the glasses bouncing on her muzzle. The Celestial Sisters? Raven mumbles after pushing her glasses up. When did you become so big? Where are we? Raven's stomach grumbles. Raven, Celestia begins, you have defended me and my sisters for many years. I believe the bonding spell that the late Star Swirl has casted on you has finally been broken on its own accord. Though I do not remember anything of our upbringing, I believe I remember that you stated minutes ago that you protected us as if we were your younger sisters. Now it is time we return the favor and cherish the remaining years of the filly that lived 1,000 lives. Though we are still alicorns, we are no longer princesses. May we refer to each other on a named basis at last? Will I continue to receive proper sustenance? I dislike the notion of returning to the wilds if I do not have a purpose. Luna laughs. Of course we'll feed you, Raven. You did so much across your many lives to watch over us. We will treat you well. However, I do have a question regarding food. Yes? Do you like bananas? Oh, it's that joke. And I know that my reactions have been a little bit mixed at most, but I'm trying to approach this as if I'm reading it for the first time. So, yeah, even though I've read everything up to a disciple is gained. Whoops, I did not mean to click that. Even though I've already read to the most recent chapter, I haven't read the most recent chapter yet, but even though I've read to the most recent chapter so far, I'm trying to give the closest thing to my first impressions after initially reading it. Anyway, let's just get past the awkwardness of me trying to explain why I'm reading it in the way that I'm reading it, and yeah, let's continue. Celestia chuckles. Raven glances at the elder alicorn. Celestia, I do not understand. Does our sister jest? Inside joke, no worries, Celestia responds, snorting. She blinks. 'Tis indeed a jest, kept largely between myself and Luna. Sure. Was that sarcasm? A cheeky grin begins to spread across Raven's face. Maybe. And there's that chapter. And now we are on to, I guess, part 2, even though it's labeled as group 2 on the description. And yeah, this part focuses on the Raven of Shadows from this chapter and, like, where they began and stuff. Birth of an Alicorn. Raven wakes with a heave. This dream she had, it feels as if it had been real. Her breaths begin to slow as she closes her eyes. A flash of fire crackles in her memory. Yes, this must have been her predecessor's cause of death. An unfortunate accident in a mission, perhaps. She rises on shaky legs, peering at her surroundings. As expected, it is the same vault all ravens emerged from, constructed long ago by Star Swirl himself. Another raven materializes behind her, a new sister of her generation. Raven. Both mares turn their heads to the source of the voice. You who has been elevated to the status of Alicorn, please step aside. Alicorn? The first raven stammers. She turns her head, immediately spotting her folded wings. I suspect there exists a horn atop my head as well? Yes, the second raven answers. I will repeat. Please step aside, Alicorn. The first raven makes a face at the raven watching from above. And who are you to give orders to your own sister? You are a defect created by our immortal bond. Your very existence serves as a threat against the lives of your blood sisters. The thaumatic energy utilized in your creation and continued sustenance is much higher than that required to sustain the form of an earth pony or unicorn. There is little doubt that you will. I realize the notion, yes, the first raven cuts in, but what is to become of me? For the sake of our bloodline and for the well-being of the celestial sisters, your body shall be terminated and reformed. I object. This is an order. The Alicorn raven unfurls her wings. I object. Must we become so needlessly heated? The second raven asks. She lights her horn, tugging at a wing of the Alicorn before her. Your life will not end. Our bloodline consists of earth ponies and unicorns. If you wish to retain the power of flight, it is possible for our sisters in Cantaloupe to commission a glider to be manufactured. A glider? I don't know where that came from. The guarding raven lands. Our sister is correct. The Alicorn folds her wings again. I must first request for the two of you to become my audience. In these brief moments that have existed thus far in this form, an observation has entered my mind. The celestial sisters that we call our siblings have announced their plans to abdicate. We have observed from the banishment of the Moon Princess that the disuse of an Alicorn's abilities leads to the rapid decay of our bonding spell, and by extension our bodies. As Star Swirl is no longer with us, would it not be within the best interest of our bloodline to extend the rule of the Celestial Sisters indefinitely? The guarding raven narrows her eyes. Do you suggest that we commit treason against the wishes of our own sisters? I do not believe it is treason to remove a yet-to-be ruler from their former throne. Then, seeing to your destruction is no longer a concern merely of the safety of the sisters, nor is it merely one of our bloodline. It is hereby a concern of national security. Must we bicker so? The second raven asks. Are we not making a fuss out of what is at most a trivial mistake of our bonding spell? Do you call your own sister a trivial mistake? The Alicorn raven's eyes lock with the second raven's. Do not forget that our immortal life that we share has gained us an immense knowledge of the magical arts. The second raven gasps, her eyes widening at the charge building upon her sister's horn. If it is understood that my existence places an especial drain on the energy innate within the celestial sisters, then is it not a logical tactic to eliminate the weakest of our blood sisters, Raven? Halt! The guarding raven shouts. Your mind is clouded, sister. You mustn't harm one of our own. The Alicorn raven glares in response. She unfurls her wings and shoots overhead, escaping the structure with only a single flap of her wings. The guarding raven gallops from the structure, watching the Alicorn fade into the shadows of the cliff face looming overhead. She turns her attention to the remaining raven standing before her. What was your former occupation, sister? I was involved in the study of experimental magical constructs. These constructs are intended to be used in place of the elements of harmony, should the elements continue to remain physically unavailable to be passed down. My former body was incinerated instantly during the testing phases of one such construct. I see. The guarding raven nods. In that case, it is reasonable to assume, based on the elapsed time between the fabrication of you and the alicorn, that the spell has once again duplicated a raven. By the order of the guardian raven, you are to utilize these constructs to the best of your ability to find and terminate the alicorn. Utilize the knowledge of our sister's espionage training to prevent any suspicion from being raised. Report your findings to the raven that assists the celestial sisters in Cantaloupe. I will notify her of your orders and mission to grant you to... Huh? Oh, okay. I think that's another typo. I will notify her of your orders, and I'm guessing that mission is... Oh, yeah. Never mind. It's not a typo. I was thinking that mission was supposed to be per mission, but no, that wouldn't make sense. I will notify her of your orders and mission to grant you access to your work. Okay, there's that chapter. That was a little bit of a garbage fire with just how much I ended up pausing to explain and whatever. Anyway, make sure that this is synced properly. Yes, it is. Okay. The Raven Who Lurks. Raven lands atop a precariously balancing building. She keeps her wings unfurled as to retain her balance. The wind blows strongly, causing the structure to sway. She peers down upon the various creatures going about their day in the streets far below. Clujtown, the name forms at the mayor's lips, a suitable dwelling for the roaming outcast. Even then, my identity mustn't be revealed. Her attention turns to a ragged flag flapping in the dry wind on a nearby roof, its colors long since faded. Raven paces down a marketplace avenue, keeping her head low. Even with this makeshift cloak, it is hard to truly conceal herself without a proper illusion spell, or at least the mana required to cast one. Perhaps she may have been overly hasty in her retreat. You, the one with the horn. A voice beckons from the shadows. Come with me. I know you're a special one. Raven glances in the direction of the voice, though there is nobody to be seen in the dark alleyway. Reveal yourself, she mutters. I will not give my trust so easily in a place such as this. A careful one, eh? The voice chuckles. Well, from one fellow outcast to another, welcome to Clujtown. Please ignore the powdered horns being sold in the next shop over. It pauses before continuing, louder this time. I hear the owner's got a good... he screwed that up so badly there. Okay, let me try and get the voice correct again. I hear the owner's got a good sniffer for you ponies. Ponies? A second voice, this one low and gurgling, asks. The creature this voice belongs to emerges not long after, their imposing figure looming tall over a raven. They suck in a breath of air. Yes, there is pony. Raven lets out a quiet sigh of annoyance. Must you call to attention my existence so loudly? Yep. Come with me if you want to live. How typical. I will follow, if only for the sake of my horn. A small face emerges from the shadows of the alley. Come, then, and make it snappy. You're lucky I found you here. Ooh, he's getting ready to swing. Raven lights her horn, freezing the shopkeeper in place. The faintest of smirks forms on her face. Not anymore. Now make haste before I am further noticed. The face nods and vanishes again into the shadows. Raven follows without issue. Behind her, the shopkeeper finishes his swing, knocking the living daylights out of a passerby. She ignores the sounds of the fight that results. Where do you lead me, strange creature? First off, I'm not just some creature. I might not know what I am, but at least I've got a name. Allow me to apologize. What do you wish for me to call you? Eh. Raven raises a brow. Eh? Eh. The creature shrugs. Didn't care and never will, so call me whatever. You are a strange one, eh? Oh geez, you took that seriously. You say that you do not care, nor will you ever care. Thus I have decided to call you by the response you initially gave me. Pfft. Fine, keep calling me that then, Raven. Raven steps halt. You know my name? S turns around. Oh yeah, I know your name. Heard that you got into a little tussle not too long ago with your folks. Your mama sure whooped you bad, didn't she? No wonder you flew the coop. A wave of relief washes over Raven. Yes, I remain sore even now. May I ask where you heard of this news, and more importantly, I must ask why and how you sought me out. Just got the news that there was some pony headed for this place in the papers, that's all. Word spreads fast when you've got merchants traveling everywhere. I see. Ed laughs. You might see, but I sure don't. Give me some light for this crummy place, would ya? Raven rolls her eyes at the notion of being ordered by someone she just met. Nevertheless, a dim illumination spell quickly envelops her horn. Where do you lead me, eh? Crouches down, holding a scrawny finger to his chin. Right here. He points at a worn trap door embedded into the ground. Got some hand stuff for you down in that hidey hole. You act remarkably hospitable for a creature of Clujtown. Shrugs. What can I say? I run an inn. Stuffing a horse into a hole is plenty easy enough for me to do in my spare time. You wish to sell me, do you not? Or perhaps you plan to dismember me whilst I slumber, and sell my limbs to the highest bidder. Whoa, no. I am not gonna be doing any of that, retorts. I just got soft spots for ponies, that's all. There's a couple others down in that bunker if you want to say hi. He finally finds the handle and pulls the trap door open. Anyhow, I got an inn to run. He turns to leave. Oh, and by the way, you're gonna need to get used to meat pretty quickly around here. Raven watches scamper off into the shadows once more. She turns her attention to the open trap door. A pair of glasses glint in the flickering light of her horn. And I'm pretty sure that it's going to be easy to tell who that pair of glasses belongs to. Right there. Second Raven. Okay, here's the next chapter. How many there are? Oh, there's just one more after this. Okay. Ravens of Clujtown. A second raven emerges from the shadows of the trapdoor, squinting in the light of the alicorn's horn. An alicorn? She mutters. Have the antics of the collector warranted a sister's reincarnation and dispatch into the body of such a powerful being? The collector? The alicorn raven tilts her head. Do you refer to the creature that has brought me here to this trapdoor? Indeed she does. A third raven emerges behind the second. The collector is quite harmless, but to him we are his pets, and quite valuable ones at that. At minimum, however, he does treat us well. Alicorn Raven raises a brow at her two duplicates before her, though only one of them has a horn. I must ask, why is it that there is not one incarnation, but two, present here in Clujtown? I did not expect for my fellow sisters to be here with me, not to mention the fact that two have been dispatched to the same location seemingly at once. We were not sent simultaneously. The second raven shakes her head. I was the first to arrive, on orders to investigate the claims of there being a market for equestrian ponies here in Clujtown, following the events of the Friendship Festival. My sister, who lacks a horn, was sent following my assumed demise to carry out the same duty. Had it not been for the collector, the both of us surely would have long since been sold away, though he was originally arranged to be our chauffeur in our return to Equestria. Whether or not he will eventually carry out his orders is beyond us. The third raven glances at the alicorn raven's wings. Have you two been sent to investigate the claims? If so, it is best for you to flee at once using those wings of yours. Our current predicament is proof enough of the market for equestrians. I came on my own accord. Oh? There is a target that my sisters in Equestria have painted upon my back for my crime of existing. They do not realize that this alicorn they call sister may very well be the key to our bloodline's continued indefinite existence. I do suppose that the birth of an alicorn would place fair amount of strain on the spell that sustains us, the alicorn raven murmurs. She looks up. What do you speak of when you claim that you may be the key to our continued existence? Do you wish to hear the words that our sisters in Equestria call treason? The eyes of the two non-alicorns widen. Treason? Whatever for? The third raven asks. Surely you jest. The alicorn raven shakes her head. I do not jest. When the celestial sisters abdicate, their magic will fade from disuse, and so too will the spell that sustains our cherished cycle of reincarnation. Is it not natural for any creature to wish for their bloodline to continue onward? But we are a manufactured bloodline. We are far from natural, sister. Do you suggest that our lives are worthless compared to those of natural heritage? It takes a moment for the third raven to respond. Yes, to an extent. We enjoy an unnatural immortality, whilst all others, including even the celestial alicorn sisters that sustain our bloodline, remain purely within the mortal realm. That is, if a fatal blow is to be dealt, regardless of method, death will be ensured. Our bloodline does not follow this natural rule. Then I expect that you do not value your own life. The alicorn raven's horn intensifies its glow. In that case, I believe it will be better utilized in my quest to perpetuate our bloodline ever further. What? Whoa, what's going on in here? Stumbles upon the commotion, shading his eyes from the dazzling light of the alicorn raven. Fighting ain't good for your health, you know. What do you intrude upon us for, eh? The alicorn raven keeps attention on the third raven. My sisters call you the collector. Do you see us as your playthings? Her horn dims a little as she pulls the cloak once more over her body. Regardless, I believe it is time for me to leave. What? No, you're more than playthings. You're like family to me, and don't leave either. Snorts. I know you ponies get a little antsy sometimes, but it just isn't safe to take the bunch of you on walks. You'll get chopped up out there. Hoofsteps approach from behind Oh, almost forgot. Steps aside. Raven. Meet Raven. This one dropped straight out of the sky on a chute. Lucky for her, it's the first to jump off the balcony to snatch her up. Another raven emerges from the shadows, a dim light spell flickering at the tip of her horn. Her eyes immediately land upon the alicorn raven. She lets out a quiet gasp and quickly bows, hiding a sly smirk in the darkness of the alleyway. Elevated one, I come as a follower in your ideals. I think I almost said elephant one. Okay, next chapter. This one is the one that I have not read yet because I was on a road trip. Let me just stretch for a moment. And I just completely screwed up my avatar. Hold on. Okay. Reset position. Okay. Okay, that's working again. Oh, and I just bonked my microphone. Sorry for the noise if you're like wearing headphones or something. Whoops. Okay, a disciple is gained. Sits on a stool, sipping his coffee. 4 ponies. What a collection. Wait, no. I should change the tense. What a collection. The second raven rolls her eyes. We understand that you are delighted to have gathered us, collected. Call me The creature points at the alicorn raven. The one with the extra pointy horn there gave me that name. You do not have a name yourself? Sips his coffee. Dunno. Didn't care for a while either, but knowing for sure that I have one now makes me feel warm inside, like I'm filled with coffee. He stares at his mug before holding it up. Speaking of coffee, you girls want any? The third raven raises a hoof. Alrighty, hold on while I get another mug then. Stands up and wanders through an ajar door. Does consistently treat you this kindly? The fourth raven cocks her head. Oh boy, there's 4 of them, yeah, as of the last chapter. Okay, so the first 2, if I remember correctly, are the ones that were inside the trapdoor. I guess the third one is the alicorn raven, so yeah, I think that Keyslam is just numbering them by the order that they appear in a specific scene. So yeah, the fourth one is the most recent one then. The fourth raven cocks her head. It feels almost as if his demeanor is nothing but an act. The second raven nods. Treats us kindly, though we are not allowed much exposure to sunlight for the sake of our safety. I do wish he would smuggle us back to Equestria as per his original role, however. She pauses, averting eye contact with the fourth raven. In all honesty, I see you as a more notable enigma than any creature of Clujtown. Why is it that you address one of your sisters as the elevated one? The fourth raven tenses up, her face growing stern. The elevated one is the way to the continued existence of our bloodline. The third raven sighs. Must we discuss this once more? I stand firm in my belief that our purpose is to serve. To live. Wait. Oh, wait, no. The first raven is the alicorn one, because they appeared first in the scene. The second and third are the ones in the trapdoor, right? Yeah. Pretty sure it is. And are the eyes not sinking again? Blink. Okay, yeah, they're sinking fine. It's just that. It just happened to look like they were closed at the moment. Anyway, continuing on. Okay. The third raven sighs. Must we discuss this once more? I stand firm in my belief that our purpose is to serve. To live is to uphold our end of the bargain. And when this purpose is no more, we must depart this world in peace. It is only fair that our lives are directed by a sole purpose and meaning when we are to enjoy the unnatural cycle of reincarnation that none else may experience. Very well then. The alicorn raven gives a singular nod. If you wish to remain shackled and useless to our bloodline, then you will forever onward until your time of reincarnation be the plaything of the one you call a collector. I no longer have any interest in the energy that sustains your life, as I myself feel rather refreshed as of now. She glances at the second and fourth ravens. As for the 2 of you, I offer a choice. You may flee with me at dusk, or you may continue to live under the watch of kept like a showpiece in a glorified basement. I wish to remain with our sister, the second raven responds almost immediately. If escape may later lead to treason, as you have suggested before, then I do not wish to have any part in it. The alicorn's eyes turn to the fourth raven. My sister, do you still wish to join me? The fourth raven silently nods. Very well then, we shall continue our quest. Huh? Yeah, I misread that. We shall continue our rest for now. As you are, too, a being capable of spellcraft, I trust that you will be able to teleport alongside me? Another nod. Very well. I will remain in your line of sight to allow for your own escape. I do not believe I have yet regained the energy to teleport more than myself. I should have brought some water. This is kind of long. The full moon shines brightly tonight, sister. Do you ever wonder how the moon princess felt upon her banishment? The fourth raven looks up. Betrayal, perhaps. The alicorn raven continues to stare into the sky. The moon princess merely wanted what she saw was fair for herself. Though her methods were far from optimal, she was in no way in the wrong, I believe. Wait. Oh boy, I kind of butchered that a bit. Though her methods were far from optimal, she was no way in the wrong, I believe. Perhaps I am now retracing those ancient hoofsteps. You wish to allow yourself to be consumed by a demon of greed? Nay, I seek what I believe is fair for our bloodline. Our bargain is to protect and serve the Celestial Sisters, and so long as we continue to do so, our blessed cycle of reincarnation will be upheld. Yet, if these sisters are to abdicate, and with this abdication allow their powers to grow unused and derelict, then this cycle will be severed by force, regardless of what we as individuals wish for. Is this not a failure to uphold their end of our bargain if we are to continue serving the sisters? The fourth raven remained silent. Must we remain placid in the face of our own impending doom? No, we should not. The fourth raven chooses her words carefully. Sister, do you remember the demise of our predecessor? The alicorn raven finally takes her eyes off the moon, turning instead to focus on her sister. I'm unsure of the number of duplicates the spell has fabricated in our current cycle, but I remember seeing the carnage and panic of our sanctuary following your departure. It reminded me of the same carnage that befell my predecessor, a researcher in the study of magical constructs. Do you too descend from this researcher? The alicorn raven narrows her eyes. Are you the one that has called their own sister a mistake? I am unaware of such claims, sister. Wait, tense. I'm unaware of such claims, sister. I merely saw another successor of this researcher being ordered to pursue you. I'm your loyal follower. Very well then. I trust you will not betray me? I will not, sister. The fourth raven leans back. Now that we are away from Clujtown and its many treasure hunters, may I ask if you are aware of the Chamber of Raven? Oh boy. Oh boy, it's the same raven from the Raven of Shadows. Yeah, the setup begins. Well, anyway, that was the story. Inkwells Across Equestria by Keyslam. Of course, I will be linking the story in the description of this video once it goes up. And yeah, if I remember correctly, at the moment, the thing that I have the Google Forms that I am using to collect what stories to be read is currently closed because I already got 12 submissions. This is one of those 12, so technically 11 now, but yeah. Yeah, thanks for watching. My eyes are starting to freak out now that I'm moving around so much. And yeah, until next time, thanks for watching. Once again, if you like this sort of stuff, then be sure to, hit that subscribe button or maybe like the video. It helps out the channel and stuff. And I'm stumbling over my words more than I have been even when I was, reading through this. So yeah, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. I guess disclaimer one more time for if you want it for whatever reason. I don't know. Yeah, there's not exactly anything all that controversial that I see in this, aside from maybe the part where, there's ravens, or the pony raven, not the bird, being kept as pets. But yeah, aside from that, this was a story that I myself was reading before it got submitted to me. So yeah, thanks for watching, and until next time, I am out. Goodbye.